What's going on, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by Galadon Gaming. Today we're talking about tournament play again, and this was a tournament that I participated in, and yes, Galamom participating in it as well. We both showed up in one of DPantano's streams on Camcord recently. I like to drop in on people's streams from time to time and just surprise them, and DPantano was doing a tournament. There were some slots left. I popped in, and next thing you know, in the very first battle in this tournament, Galamom and Galadon faced off. Now, I was visiting her at her place at the time, and no, unlike some of you might think, I don't live in my mom's basement. But anyway, so we were in the same room at the time of this battle, and I was like, maybe I should go easy, and she got mad at me. She's like, you better not go easy on me. I'll know if you went easy on me, and you better not. So, well, I didn't. And right about here, I'm like, okay, Mom, what are you going to do? You got to stop me. You got to do something. She's like, I'm waiting. I'm saving my elixir like you always tell me to do. I'm like, all right. So anyway, this battle went pretty quickly, and unfortunately, Galamom, not a lot of experience in tournaments, and the 3 crowns came quickly. So I battled a few more times in the tournament, and you'll notice I'm using the Furnace and the Miner and the Guards deck here. One of my favorite new decks to use, and it's funny, I had the Trifecta deck, the Hog Smoke, whatever you want to call it, the Hog Cycle deck with Poison, queued up and ready to go, and a couple people in the stream actually went over, looked at my deck, and started complaining that I'm using the same deck that everybody else uses, and I was like, okay, fine, let me change things up a little bit, and I'll surprise them. When I get into these battles, I had switched decks, and I had my new favorite Furnace deck up, and you guys might have also seen a video about this deck recently. One of my favorite decks to use, but you'll notice my opponent here has his own version of the Furnace deck, the Mini P.E.K.K.A. as well. I really like the Mini P.E.K.K.A. I think it's a great counter to the Royal Giant and to so many other units. The Poison spell, super versatile, probably the single highest value card out there if you get it in the right position, meaning it can do by far the most damage, more than a really good fireball even, simply because of the amount of time that it's going to last. When you've got a big assault moving in, anything like a big tank with a bunch of little units around it, it's a great and very effective way to get rid of all the little guys. A Golem Swarm, Lava Hound, same idea. Even a Royal Giant, when it's being protected by a bunch of little minions and goblins, the Poison spell just wipes them right out and clears the way. It also is great for working on elixir collectors of your opponents, also on the Furnace, like you might see here, and Hut Spam, the ideal card to fight a Barbarian Hut and a Spear Goblin Hut that are up at the same time on the same side of the map. So right here, my favorite strategy, and that is a lot of small units are together as they've stopped my opponent's push, and now they move forward as the Miner goes in at the same time, and I think that's probably like the next level gameplay of the Miner deck. Meaning the basic gameplay is you throw in a Miner, then you throw in a few small units and hope that the tower targets the Miner first and the units get in a bunch of damage before your opponent can counter them. But the next level stuff is when you've got all of those units on your side of the map, they're working on stopping a push of your opponent. Now they're left over, you've got the Miner ready because you almost never use the Miner on defense unless you're in an absolute panic position. You throw the Miner out there, and that comes down to timing. Getting that Miner to pop up next to the tower just before the units get within range of the tower. That way, the Miner is being targeted. He's a good tank. He sits in there, soaks up that damage, and whatever else, fire spirits, minions, goblins, even a princess can sit there and do the damage to the tower. Here we've got 20 seconds left. I've pretty much managed to stop and stuff every push that's come down either one of the lanes. And right here in the final seconds, just seeing if I could push hard and try to get that right tower down. Also, just in case he sneaks in, the Royal Giant on the left. Time counting down, Fire Spirits, Poison Spell getting in there. And as time runs out, we don't quite get the second crown, but a 1 crown win, and we move on directly into another battle in the tournament. So right here, you were seeing the battles as they happened, meaning these were sequential. I did just battle over and over and over again. I happened to find Galamom. I'm still not sure how that happened with such a big, I believe it was a 200-person tournament, and to find her right at the start, we faced off at the very beginning. Maybe it was just because we both hit battle at the exact same moment, but it moved on from there. This would be the 3rd battle in the tournament, and I'm still holding on to, say, maybe a top 10, top 15 spot. There's Sparky down the right-hand side, and just like we talked about, I'm using the poison spell to get rid of the units that were there in support of the Sparky. And guards, an ideal card for countering a Sparky. Works out really well. The damage from the poison and the guards get that Sparky out of the way. Sometimes Sparky, I don't know, it frustrates a lot of people. Other people say it's super easy to counter. For me, I can have difficulty with it. Ideally, I will always remember once I've seen a Sparky in a battle, never, ever use my Zap spell anywhere else. Save it for Sparky. And technically here, I probably should be saving the guards for Sparky also. Between those two cards, that's 3 charges of Sparky taken care of in any given push for only 5 elixir. But like so many of those Sparky deck players do, he got me focused on Sparky coming down one lane, he pushed down the other, and just about takes a tower down. We're only a minute and a half into this battle, and I'm already looking like I'm really far behind. The goblins just about to get there as well, only about 600 hit points left on that tower. But I'm pushing down the right with my furnace, hoping that at least I can try to chip off some damage on both towers, because it looks like that left tower is not going to make it, and any chance I have to pull out a win here is going to have to be 2-1. Alright, so he's got a giant coming from the very back of the playing field there, so I'm expecting to see either the Sparky slide in right behind the giant or on the opposite lane, but you'll notice I just took the tower down on the right hand side with a big push. I've got twin furnaces working now, and with the fireball damaging the furnace, couple of furnaces up, there is a rage spell. I was not expecting that. Gotta try to stop that giant. He would practically one-shot that tower with rage, and sure enough, we do turn back that entire push, and the tower survives. We're now down to 30 seconds, and it's beginning to look like maybe he can't get this tower down in regulation. So I've got the next furnace up on the left-hand side, the princess, and I know he's probably going to try to rotate. Yes, through fireballs. There, it's the first one, but it looks like he might not have time to get through with another fireball with less than 15 seconds left. Lots of pressure. You saw the zap spell. Another fireball will do it. 8 seconds left. You know it's going to be coming up in his deck somewhere any second. Now we can see he dropped the musketeer. Here comes the fireball, but it's a split second too late, and the fireball doesn't land, and I just eke out the 1 crown win. So the battles are getting closer and closer all the time. I'm still pushing towards the top, but now we've got another opponent. This time we've got the Frozen Fart Face Arena. What is it called again? I always forget. Oh, well, I'll just edit that out later. I'll probably forget. Anyway, here comes the battle, and I've got the same deck, and we're facing this time a Hog Rider based deck, and he's got the Ice Spirit card in there. So that's a card we don't see often, but check it out. He's got the Bowler as well. So definitely going to be a surprise. I was shocked when he drops this Bowler for the first time, and I have to say, the Bowler, it throws me off guard. Now, I know there's got to be great ways to counter a Bowler, obviously, especially once it crosses the river, to get it working, say, rolling that rock off to the side so it's not crushing multiple units or heading right on your tower at the same time. But I just wasn't ready for it, nor was I ready for this Hog Rider dropping guards off to the side. Hog goes right into the tower. Support from the Bowler as he's just annihilating everybody in the path. Also, the pushback extra annoying, and check that out, man. Between the Hog and the Bowler, I am going to have to play comeback big time right here to try to catch up. I look over to my left, and Galamom's still playing away and hasn't yet won a battle in the tournament. Man, nobody's being nice to Galamom. We need to make a Let Galamom Win tournament in the future. Hey, that's an idea. Not that any of you would actually do that. Anyway, so we move on. I drop a poison spell, just barely grabbing the elixir collector off to the right-hand side, and wisely my opponent drops the musketeer out to the left outside the range. That ideally is not the best way to use the poison spell. I always try to grab another unit in addition to the tower and the elixir collector. Here comes the Bowler once again, throwing balls left, throwing balls right. I don't know how to control his balls. His balls, they're out of control. They really are. Why do I sense that's going to be down in the comments and say Galadon 2016 after it? All right. Anyway, let's move on. I just lost a tower. 60 seconds left. Doesn't look good. We're trying to come back, but the King's Tower has seen so much damage. We haven't been able to get into the left tower there, even with a poison spell, trying to grab the barbs. A little bit late right there. The barbs got out of it. The princess is out of it also, and my opponent doing a surprisingly effective job of minimizing the damage from my poison spells, and it doesn't look good. 30 seconds, we're desperately trying to put together a push, stopping the bowler, throwing a miner, like I've said this before, by himself over there, not going to do a lot, and the Ice Spirit, surprisingly effective. The poison spell isn't going to get the job done, or is it? Yes, it looks like we might indeed get this tower down before time runs out. It was so close, but we finally managed to tie it up, but check it out. Right lane, not looking good. So we survived into overtime. We managed to come back, but we suffered so much damage to the King's Tower, to the right lane tower, that I'm just not sure if I'm going to be able to hold this guy off. And the middle drop, I hate that. I really hate that about the whole setup of the maps. The fact that you can middle drop units after a tower goes down, and okay, maybe I hate it primarily because I don't utilize it enough. I need to be doing that more often, not having my opponents control me and wipe me out by doing it. There we had a pair of furnaces up, but they're not going to get the job done. The Hog Rider gets to the tower anyway. Doesn't look good, trying to stop that hog with the guards, trying to put some pressure on the right lane tower. 2.5 minutes left of overtime, doesn't look good. I was really wishing this was a 1-minute overtime situation. Maybe we could have survived. Another furnace, great splash damage, this time stopping the barbs. Another poison spell, going to stop just about everybody. He throws me a thanks. Here comes the bowler. That tower is in big trouble. Here sneaks the Hog Rider and the bowler in. And it's over. Alright, so good game. Well played. Well fought. Got my favorite deck out of the way. And, yeah. I don't know what it is about this game. No matter where I lose, if I lose, it is just aggravating. Alright, anyway, thank you once again to D. Pantano from Camcord for setting up that tournament. Had a lot of fun. Hope you guys are getting a chance to get into tournaments. If you're not, make sure you check me out on Mob Crush. I have made a solemn promise, and that is every single soul who follows me on Mob Crush will get into a tournament. I will see to it. Thank you guys once again for your time. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I hope to see every last one of you back here again tomorrow for more full attacks. Galadon, every single soul sounds sort of silly.